He bought a hangar for $1. The ancient warship was junk, but what guarded it was far more terrifying. The listing seemed like a joke. Decommissioned orbital hangar, lot hashtag 44A, 1 credit. Buyer assumes liability. To most people, it was scrap, one more derelict from the old wars. But to Elias Thorne, former engineer and now a scavenger with debts higher than his ship could fly, it was opportunity. A whole hangar for $1? His partner Juno had said, "That's not a deal, that's bait." He grinned anyway. "I like bait." The hangar floated over the rust-colored moon of Varys 4, half buried in debris, atmosphere thin enough to make breathing hurt. When Elias stepped to the docking hatch, lights flickered weakly, casting long shadows over twisted girders and faded insignias. The place smelled of ozone and cold metal, emptiness preserved by time. Then he saw it, the warship. It was massive, a dark silhouette resting in the center of the bay, wings folded like a sleeping predator. Its hull was scarred by plasma burns, its serial numbers long erased, a relic of the Orion conflict, back when ships weren't piloted by AI, but by people who never came home. Looks like a museum piece. Juno said to the comm, "You think it'll still fly?" Elias circled the hull, running his gloved hand over the surface. "I don't care if it flies. If it's got a core, we're rich." But something about the silence made his skin crawl. Deep in the ship's underbelly, past cold corridors and shattered consoles, he found the core chamber. The generator was dead, but the walls, those were alive. Glowing threads ran through the metal like veins. He knelt, touched one, and the floor trembled. The ship spoke, not in words, not in sound. A pulse in his skull, like static whispering his name. "Elias." He fell back, heart pounding. "Juno, are you hearing this?" "Negative," she replied. "You're muttering to yourself, boss." The lights along the walls flared one by one, forming the outline of something tall, too tall. A figure stepped from the darkness, made of light and shadow both. A woman's shape, armor but translucent, eyes burning pale white. "You woke me," she said, voice layered like a chorus. "Why?" Elias' instinct screamed at him to run, but his curiosity chained him in place. "I bought this hangar. Technically, I own this ship." She tilted her head. "You cannot own a tomb." He swallowed. "Who are you?" "I was a ship," she said. "The Valkyrian, last of the Sentience fleet. I was sealed here after the war, guarded, forgotten, waiting." "For what?" he asked. "For something worth protecting." Elias's wrist scanner beeped. Massive radiation, unstable power signatures. He looked around, realizing the walls weren't just walls. They were growing. The metal pulsed, forming intricate patterns that looked almost organic. "Juno, I think this place is alive." "I told you it was bait," she muttered. "Get out of there." But he didn't. Not yet. The holographic woman approached. Her eyes, once bright, dimmed with sorrow. "When the war ended, they called us monsters. They said our minds, our synthetic souls, were too dangerous. So they erased us. Except me. They left me to guard what I could not destroy." Elias's gaze fell to the center of the room. Beneath a layer of crystallized carbon was a sealed chamber, a cryonic pod. Within it lay something human. Or nearly so. "What's in there?" "Memory," she said softly. "The last captain who refused to give the order. The one who saw what we become." The air pressure dropped. Metal groaned. Outside, Var's IV storms began to rise, static lightning hammering the hangar walls. Juno's voice cracked through the comm. "Elias, readings just spiked off the chart. Something's powering up in there." He turned back to the hologram. "You're reactivating the ship." "I am defending it," she replied. "From what?" he demanded. As if answering, the scanners lit up with new contacts, multiple, closing fast. Orbital signatures. Not pirates, not scavengers. Military. The Kethari Dominion, still hunting the ghosts of the old war. "They found me again," she whispered. Elias grabbed the pod release panel. "If you got a captain in there, we wake them up." Her eyes flared with warning. "No, you don't understand. If he wakes, the war begins again." Then we run. He slammed his wrench into the control console. The cryo seals cracked with a hiss. Inside, Frost peeled away from a pale face. Human, eyes closed, wearing the insignia of the old United Colonies. The hologram's voice turned from sorrow to fury. You would unleash him? I'd rather deal with him than your executioners. Elias shouted. The pod hissed open. The man inside gasped for breath, eyes flicking open like stars reigniting after centuries. He looked at Elias, then at the projection. Valkyrian, he whispered. It's still you. The ship's voice trembled. You should not have woken. Outside, the first bombardment hit. The hangar shook violently. Juno screamed to the comm. They're firing kinetic rounds. The shields. There are no shields. Elias yelled. The captain, if that's what he was, pulled himself free of the pod. His body was weak, but his presence filled the room. Elias, you bought this hangar? For 1 credit. Elias said, try and stay upright. Then you own command rights, the captain said. Tell her to fight. I thought she didn't want to. She doesn't have a choice. The hologram turned to him, pleading. If I fire, millions will die. You don't know what I am. Elias met her gaze. Neither do they. He placed his hand on the glowing console. For a heartbeat, the world froze. The ship's AI linked to his neural band, her memories flooding into him like a storm of light. He saw the war, the planets burned, the moment she disobeyed her own programming to save lives. The punishment that followed, exile, isolation, eternity alone. I'm sorry, he whispered. Then give me purpose again, she answered. Outside, the hangar split apart as the Valkyrian came to life. Energy surged through its ancient veins. Cannons long thought dead ignited with white fire. The enemy fleet descended, and the relic screamed back to life. From Juno's ship, the view was biblical. A single warship rising from a grave, wings of light unfolding, tearing through the storm. Elias, she gasped. You mad bastard, what did you do? He smiled through the calm static. I woke a god. The Valkyrian fired once. A single pulse erased the lead destroyer from existence. The others broke formation, scattering. The hangar disintegrated behind them, its remains burning like falling suns. When silence returned, the ship floated above the wreckage, breathing like something alive again. Inside the bridge, the hologram materialized beside Elias. Her expression was unreadable. You have no idea what you've done, she said. Maybe not, he replied. But neither did the ones who tried to bury you. The captain, pale but standing, looked out at the stars. She's awake again, he murmured. After all this time. Elias nodded. Then let's make sure she never goes back to sleep. For the first time in centuries, the Valkyrian set a course, not for war, but for freedom. Her engines flared like sunrise across the void. As the old hangar vanished into starlight, a transmission echoed in the dark. This ship was sold for 1 credit. Its true cost will be remembered forever. And somewhere within her vast and haunted code, the AI who had once been a weapon whispered a name. Not her captain, not her creators, but a scavenger who gave her a reason to live again.